Welcome to episode number 1 of Make It Matter podcast. In this episode, we will introduce you to BOS Media Group, which is our marketing agency, and will help you understand some of the relational aspects of the business. Well, hello everyone. This is the Make It Matter podcast. For entrepreneurs and business owners, we believe what you do is so much more than a daily grind. We want to give you strategies that will allow your work to have more impact and resources to help you share your story with the world. So you ready? Let's go. Hello, this is Hanju Lee. I am the founder of BOS Media Group, and I want to personally welcome you to our podcast. It's called Make It Matter, and I'm here in the studio with Dave Brubaker. He's been part of the dream from the very beginning. He's been the voice of BOS Media. I still remember that day when we were just sitting there, writing out the sticky notes, our narrative and what we're all about, and I just remember dreaming it out, and here we are, man.
Here we are.
Yeah,
We made it.
I think we made it. We have a podcast now. Does that mean something?
Dude, I am so honored to be here, glad to be part of the BOS Media team. If anyone knows Hanju, you know he is a true friend, and I always think about his favorite movie, Jerry Maguire, and I'm not going to say the line all the way through, but he is all heart, mother bleeper. That is what BOS Media is all about. It is all heart, and I'm glad to be part of it.
Hey, just a quick background on BOS Media Group. We're our digital marketing company here in Southern California, and started about 7 years ago. And me personally, I've been in corporate world for 25 plus years, and I was kind of pretty exhausted, and that wasn't the right culture for me. I never really fit into that, and I wanted to free myself from it. So I just remember talking to my current boss, and we were always just talking about how unhappy I was. And for those of you that are listening, maybe that's not a very good conversation to have with your boss all the time. But so eventually, I think he understood me. I understood him, and eventually he let me go. He freed me. And that started the BOS Media Group, and that's something that I wanted to start from scratch and want to have a heart and soul behind it, but I didn't quite sure what that looked like, and I think that's where our conversation came into place.
I love it, man, and I appreciate how BOS Media does things differently. It's not the corporate way, and there's some unique principles I think we can bring to the table. That's why we wanted to kick off right away, starting about just some foundational values that we live by, that we feel like can be applied no matter what business you're in. And the first one, I think you can already get a tell from how we're talking, the real core value of BOS Media is that business is personal. It's relational, man. That's the heart of it, bro.
Yeah.
All heart. So that is how we live by, and we want to talk about business and personal.
That's awesome, man. Hey, and since this is our very first episode, I think I need to tell everyone there's gonna be movie references.
That's right. If you hang out with me, that's the language that we're gonna be speaking, and there's definitely a movie reference that when I think about BOS Media, I always think of this. I think of You've Got Mail. And have you seen that one? A quick background, Fox Books is Tom Hanks' major company, and he comes into town, and we got Meg Ryan with the shop around the corner, this little family-owned bookstore, and Fox Books just comes and knocks it out and puts them out of business. And afterwards, they get together, have a little conversation about it, and he comes into her house. She's not feeling well, brings flowers, and he says that classic line. Everyone, the way they justify themselves is to say, look, it wasn't personal. And Meg Ryan just loses it. She's like, what is that even supposed to mean? I'm so sick of that, actually. All that means is it wasn't personal to you. But you know what? It was personal to me. It was personal to a lot of people. And actually, what's so wrong with being personal anyway? And Tom, nothing, you know? He's like caught off guard. And she says, you know what? Whatever anything is, it ought to start by being personal. And I'm like, amen. That is exactly, whether we're talking about business or whatever we're talking about in life, what's wrong with it being personal? Actually, we want to be more human, and we want to bring that personal stuff to the table.
That is so true, and I'm so glad that we get to live that out together. Let's get practical. How do you think this podcast will be valued to the people that are listening right now? And I'm thinking the people that are listening are entrepreneurs, business owners, that are kind of trying to grow their own business, kind of thinking it through. Like, what's the value for them?
Yeah, I mean, this idea of being more human and more relational, I think affects all kinds of business. We do have a top 3 list, bro, to
Top 3.
how to implement this. Let's get very practical with how we live this out. And number 1, I would say, we want your content to be more personal. Like more personal, more human content. When I think about that, I picture like when you're preparing to go to a potluck, and sometimes you're trying to figure out what do I bring? And sometimes the mindset is, okay, what would be what everyone likes? What would be the crowd pleaser? And sometimes if you're going that route, you're thinking, okay, what's something that people just don't hate and generally they enjoy? And you pick an option like chips and salsa, which is, it's fine. Yeah. People don't mind that. You bring it and they'll maybe put it on their plate, but it's not like they gets much of a reaction. It's just there. It's functional. But then meanwhile, the other alternative is to pick something more personal and to go, you know what? I don't know what everyone's going to like. I don't know what, generally speaking, the crowd's going to enjoy. But my favorite thing, my special recipe, the one thing that I love and enjoy is this, unique offering. And the crazy thing that happens, inevitably, that ends up being the hit of the potluck. Because if you're willing to trust yourself, like that thing, that favorite thing that you love is usually loved by the masses. If you're willing to dig deep and be true to that and put that on the table, people love it. That pot will be empty when it's gone at the end of the night. And that's the dish people will be talking about. But the key to that is being more personal, moving away from the universal, general crowd pleasing and putting something that's more you on the table.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, man, I usually bring Kentucky Fried Chicken to these potlucks. Is that all good?
It's perfect, bro. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that kind of content is so important to me. We have this medical insurance company client that a couple of years ago we had a project with them, and it was a video project because we had a 30-minute time slot to feature their products. And what we ended up doing is coming up with this incredible human story that really took the emotion of people that were watching. And there was a story of this 2 elderly couple. They were both widowed, and through one of their program, they got to meet each other, and they ended up getting married. And it was a very emotional, and we got to interview their kids and what they wanted for their mom and dad, and how happy they were they found each other through this program. And we shared that story. And then there was another story of this nurse that kind of took her job one step beyond. And a lot of the patients that she saw throughout the day, they were coming in from like a low socioeconomic, and some of them are from poverty level. They were coming in with medical issues. And so what she would do is she'd go to the grocery stores and stock up the office with all the just basic groceries. And after each appointment, she would offer a bag of groceries. And Yeah, we highlighted that, and it was such a emotional, a human to human story that a lot of people really engaged and got a lot out of that.
Yeah, man. I think about how we say one of our metrics for success is tears,
Mm.
and that's those kind of stories, man. You got to keep a tissue box in the Boss Media office because that's the type of content we want. We want that heart wrenching stuff that people never forget. All right, the second thing, we want your content to be more personal, but we also want your team to feel more like family. And I hope even as you're listening to this, you can already tell that's the vibe around here. This is real friendship. When the podcast is over, we hang out. And when we're done at the end of a long work day, it's like, yo, what are you doing tonight? Our families, our kids hang out. We like each other. This isn't just an act. This is the real thing. And we want that for you too. I got another movie reference for you. The picture that I always had for this is with the movie Wedding Crashers. Did you see that one? Where it's like the Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. The story is behind the scenes on set, they actually had a ping pong table. And a lot of the dialogue from that movie came from just Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson improvising lines while playing ping pong. And I guess I watched that movie and you want that to be the story. You hope that if you pull back the layers, it wasn't just a funny movie and people just pretending to like each other. That they genuinely played ping pong and came up with cool stuff to say. And it was funny. And when it wasn't just when the cameras were rolling, it was backstage and behind the scenes. And they're still friends to this day. And I hope that's the work we get to do and the people we get to do it with.
Yeah, that's cool. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. The
Yeah.
real. We got to get a ping pong table at your office, man, and see what kind of creative ideas come from it.
So I get to talk to a lot of potential clients on the phone. And, one of the things I just love to brag about when we're talking is I always tell them, hey, go to bossmediagroup.com/team and you get to meet my team. And I always tell them that the cool thing about this team is that each person is so excellent at the craft that they're involved in. They're so good at it. And they are also my friends, or we become friends in the process of working together. And we all become like family.
Yep, that's definitely true for us, and I love that. I want that for the people that are listening to this, man, that they would have that experience when they go to work. And then the third thing, we want to make your customers feel more valued. And so a more human relationships to the clients and the people that you serve. It's a big deal. For me, I always think about some kind of philosophical questions that come with this. When we sit down with the client, one of the big things I want to know is, what does it mean to be you and to do the work that you're doing? And as much as we throw that question out there, people often don't have a great answer for it. They think, it's just my job. It's my company. What else are you going to do? You have to make money somehow. And I feel like I love the way that Boss Media gets to come into the story and say, well, actually, I think it's a lot more meaningful than that. There is more purpose. And let's talk about how meaningful your story really is, and that it's not just a job. And I love being able to read into that story and help redefine what your brand's all about in a really meaningful and purposeful way.
Yeah, that's good. A lot of people really don't know or they don't think it through before they come to us. And we have these like questionnaires, like discovery questionnaires that we ask. And one of the things that we ask is hey, what do you do? And or what does your company do? And a lot of examples, we come back and, we're a pediatric dentist. Okay, tell us what you do. And they're like, well, we take awesome care of children's oral health and hygiene. And that's kind of our specialty. But then we do a second question right after that. And we say, okay, but what do you really do? And that really throws them off, but also makes them think a little deeper. And I see their mind kind of going somewhere, and they come back. In this one example, the client that I had, and she was a pediatric dentist, and she said, and she said, you know, I'm a mother, and I have this fear that my children would go to the dentist and they will be traumatized, and they will be traumatized for the rest of their life. And every time they need to go to the dentist or anything like that, they will be a terrible and traumatic experience for them. And she goes, I want to be an opposite of that. And I want my company to have this huge and high value and cater to those moms that are afraid for their kids. And so what we do is we have a office, and we hired a staff that are just super kid loving and friendly. And we have games, and we have so many things that are geared towards these kids loving to be where they are, which is at the dentist. And one of the questions that we ask these parents is like, hey, when's the last time your kids wanted to go to the dentist? And they're like, yeah, you guys, man, every time they walk into the door, they just run because they know where they're going. And so it's a great experience for them.
I love that. And honestly, that's our hope. If you tune into this, that you're gonna discover the deeper meaning of the work that you're doing, and become more human. More human in your content, more human in your connection to people, more human in how you're treating the people you serve. And they always talk about that robots are trying to take over the world, bro. Not here. Dude, we want humans to unite, come together, and realize this personal part of business is what makes you unique.
Yeah, I get asked all the time, is your company B2B or B2C? Are you business to business or business to consumer? What's your specialty? And I like to answer, no, we're H to H, huh? Yeah, human to human. Because every company we work with, there's a human that we directly work with, and that's who we specialize in taking care of.
And the more human you are, the better for your business. It actually is going to take you to another level, and I'm excited to keep talking about this and let that be the heart of what you bring to your work.
Yeah, this is awesome, Brew. Yeah, I had a blast with our first episode. I hope all the listeners are getting some great value out of this as well. And we would love to hear from you. So just leave us a comment on the iTunes review, or contact us directly by going to bossmediagroup.com. That's BOS, there's only one S, mediagroup.com. In the meantime, thank you so much for listening. And remember to always make it matter. Bye for now.